Matt Lieto here, coming at you from Kailua-Kona, site of the VinFast IRONMAN World Championship. Kailua Bay just behind me. We're in kind of a cool spot, and we're gonna do some behind the scenes action for you this week on kind of what some of the athletes go through as they get ready for race day. And unfortunately, they have to sit down with me, and I get to do a lot of interviews with them to get all the sound bites that you'll hear from on race day and then maybe in some of the post-race documentaries. But we're gonna take some extra time to do more of a podcast vibe with some of these athletes. So it's a special edition here of the Ironman Insider presented by Morton. Let's get straight to it. Okay, let's do it. First victim of the day, Patrick Lange. How's it feel?
Good.
You nervous?
Good, thank you.
Nervous for this interview?
For this interview, not so much.
Why not?
I know your questions are always really scary, so I should be.
I've tried so hard to make this intimidating force.
Yeah.
Not
no, your mustache is not helping you at all, man.
Dang it. The champ sees right through me. How's it going, man? We stoked to be back on the island?
I'm grateful to be back, honestly. It's like, I just explained, like, if you touch down in the plane, you start smiling right away. And it's like, it's an instant energy, an instant feeling of, like, kind of coming home, and the energy is so great right away. So it keeps me smiling, and it's just great to be back.
And for you, is that like past experiences, or you seem to be kind of like the old school connection where we used to hear the champions talk about like the spirit of the island and that, and we don't hear that so much, but you seem to be kind of the last of that era. Is that part of it for you? Is there something about this island?
Yeah, I think for me personally, there's so much in this like energy and energy exchange with the island, and I really believe in it. And this is also how I grew up. Maybe the younger generation did not. So, you know, I always listened to the greats of the sport, Margaret and Dave Scott, mainly, when they, you know, explained the whole race situations and the energy they get from the island, and Madame Pelé and all those, you know, mythical, historical fairy tales. I love that, and I think how can you not feel that? You must definitely have trained too much if you come here and don't feel the energy.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that like the youngsters, like, are they missing out on that experience, like on a performance level, but more just like a enjoyment level, that they're like, no, this is just a world championship. I've done all the data, done all the tests.
Yeah, it seems like this younger generation gets almost a little bit too robotical for me. Like everything is, every data is collected, every centimeter in training is analyzed, and of course you have to do that in certain ways to keep up with the trends. But on the other hand, I think there's really the risk of, you know, losing yourself in that, and the connection to you and your body gets a little bit lost, maybe. So I always had a little bit of a different approach, and I always believe that my strength is within being a good connection with me, and mind, and my soul, and the energy around me. So that's also, I think, one of the big reasons why I'm not injured so much. For example, you know, I'm quite sensitive in feeling myself and feeling those niggles. And of course, I have been a physical therapist in my previous life before becoming professional. That helps also, but still, like, it's a good connection. And I think there's so much potential in there if you have that, you know, that ability to find the edge, the limit, and don't overdo it and not cross it. Yeah. Because you're just, you know, feel it.
I heard a story from maybe a training ride you had a couple days ago where you came up on the Norwegians, Gustav and Kristian and Lionel Sanders, maybe there was a flat tire.
Yeah.
And I heard you said something like, "Oh, are we handing out lactate tests?"
Yeah.
So good at having a little fun with the guys.
No, it's been nice to catch up with them and have a little bit of shit talk and making fun of Lionel and his tire. No, but I think for me it's also important to stop. I just could have keep
Yeah.
going on, like touching also on the feeling of it and data and stuff like that. I'm a guy. I had my own session to do, but I still I thought also for me personally, it's better to stop and have a little chat, have good connection to them and just a good vibe and having some fun than just looking at my Garmin and keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this was good.
And I mean, not that there's a limited amount of opportunities to make fun of Lionel, but if the opportunity presents itself, you got to take it, right?
Yeah, it does. And we also had a funny situation a couple of days ago when I posted a story of my favorite YouTuber, Daniel Beckegaard, and he got a little bit mad and wrote me a message like, "I remember this." No, it's good fun and good banter with those guys.
That's great. And I mean, have you gotten more this side of things as you've aged in your career, as far as enjoyment? It seems like you used to be a little bit more rigid. I felt like you always had this spiritual nature with the island, but
yeah.
I never saw you as much with the other athletes. Has that changed?
Yeah, I think really the 2 years of COVID changed. I think my perspective, not so much on the sport, but the way to approach it. Because that was also the time when my mom died, and I had I think a lot of personal growth, and I think we have to be grateful to be here and do what we love, and it's just such a privileged life we can live, and I mean I had the successes, I had the wins, and for sure I want to win again. But it's not it's not so tense anymore. It's not that I kill someone for it's more a little bit laid back and just I think a little bit more mature approach and gratefulness and yeah.
But you're also not giving anything up, right? Do you feel like your performance can be better because of that laid back mentality?
100%. I think looking at my results, I think in my age category, if you can say that, I'm maybe the only one who was been able to go with the increase of performance. We see a lot of my old rivals trying, but not being able to keep up with it recently. We see a lot of really great athletes in my age retiring now, and I think it's been a great strength of mine over the last few years to keep the curiosity and the willingness to change training and keep progressing. I think that's been a big game changer for me over the last years.
Rad. That's awesome. And all that being said, still back yourself for a win out here on Saturday?
You know myself. I'm not the one who's banging on the chest and pulling out these massive lines for the race. But I had a good training leading up to the race, and I'm happy where I am. I think everything is pointing in the right direction. I think we will see a race that it will be closer as ever. So I think the level of performance is so dense. So the depth of the field is unlike any other year. We will probably have a little bit rougher conditions. So I think it's gonna be a little bit more windy compared to the last few years. So I think all in all, it's gonna be probably the most interesting race in years. So, and if I can play my cards smartly, because I know where my strength lies, and this is definitely towards the end of the race, I seem to fade less than my opponents. I try to play this card, and you know, whatever happens then, you know, could be good.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's a pretty strong card. And for those that don't know, when Patrick's pulling out the card, it's got a 230 something on there. And I mean, how many 230 dots have you had? Like, you're within 30 seconds or 45 seconds of breaking 230 a few times, right?
2 times, yeah. I had a 230, 35, I think, at Ironman Israel on a honestly tough course.
Yeah.
So pretty comparable to here, I guess, like in terms of the meters of climbing. But by far not the humidity, and the heat. And at Rot, I was even closer with a 2:30:27. So yeah,
That's something.
and I think the run in Nice was also quite good
Yeah.
after that tough bike course. I think it was a 2:32 something. So so yeah, why not?
You're like allergic to running over 240. Like, literally, like, how many times have you run slower than 240? Not many.
Good question.
Yeah. That'd be a nice.
I had some races at the beginning. So in my first race, I think in Texas it was, in 2016, I ran 2:40:01.
I was there for
I
that.
think.
I think the clock was off. I saw you cross the line at 2:39:39.
Yeah. But on the other, I think in my first win in 17 here in Kona, I did 2:39:59 or 58 or something like that. So was
Yeah, but like, honestly, like, that is bananas, right? But that has to, for someone that can watch as the race develop, and obviously you're trying to be up front for as long as you can, as close to the front as possible.
Sure.
But to know that you have this card that is maybe 10 minutes faster than most and 5 minutes faster than the next best, like, that has to give you, like, allow you to be a little bit relaxed to an extent.
Yeah, but on the other hand, the other guys also leveled up over the last couple of years. You know, seeing someone like Magnus Ditlev all of a sudden run it to 36. I mean, look at him. He's almost 2 meters tall and can push 500 watts on average. So I think what makes me a little bit proud is to be be the one who had pushed the boundaries for the others to increase. Like, I was the first one under sub 8 hours here.
Yeah.
You know, and now in 2022, I finished in 7:58 and became 10th.
Crazy.
It's crazy. So it's a great time to be in the sport, and also it feels great to be, maybe one of the guys who was a little bit responsible for the other athletes to push even harder and elevate the level of the competition.
Yeah, and like, you should be proud of that. Like, that jump, first to go sub 8, you went 7:52, right? Or something?
Correct. Yeah, 52. Yeah.
That was a lot, man. That was crazy.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, I was in the finish shoot and interviewed you afterwards, and like, you were in this like zone.
Ecstatic.
Like, what was that? What place are you in when you're like, realize you've done something that nobody's ever done and maybe you didn't think you could do?
I remember running down Queen K, when I took the lead from Camworth back then, I think he also rode a bike course record that day.
Yeah.
And it took me like 15 kilometers, roughly, to overtake him. So I saw the lead car with the clock on top for the first time. And I did the math in my head and was like, oh, wow. Okay. I can like, I think at one point it was, I could almost run about 250 and still got under 8 hours. And I was like, when was the last time I did run 250?
Yeah.
So, and at the moment I realized you really can be the first one to break the 8 hours, where for 40 years, I think it was 40th edition, all those great athletes have, biting their teeth out.
Yeah.
You say, is it a translation?
Yeah.
Proper translation, Jen?
Yeah.
And being the person to actually do that, just totally it gave me so much energy that I was almost new and I was so fresh, and so I could push even harder, and it was just a great race, and yeah.
And I think of that looking into what kind of is happening now with the racing. We're talking about like the young guys are kind of just like throwing these long bombs and like going as hard as they can, and if it works out, it works out. But like you've gone, obviously 2 years ago conditions were like very, very fast. So like,
yeah, sure.
And those athletes obviously deserve the times that they got. But how do you balance, keep an eye on what that they're doing and what you can do? You did that 752 kind of, I assume to an extent, racing your own race. Where can you still do that now, and how do you like manage that with these guys going off the front so fast?
You have to adapt. You have to adapt to the race dynamics, and it definitely changed. So I had a long discussion with my coach about it, and I really think that the race dynamics changed quite a lot. So, back in the days, it was like you put on this one gear and you go. You can push whatever it was, 4 watts per kilo, and you just go as long as possible. And on the run, you set your watch on 350 per kilometer, and you just go and keep the steady pace. But I really think it has changed over the last couple of years. So the spikes and the dynamics, and also because we have the 12-meter drafting rule, and being in the group at 12 meters or 14 meters is a big advantage. And so the ability of going fast for 5 minutes, say, or 3 minutes, became so important. So that's also honestly the biggest change in my training. We see the Norwegians coming from the Olympic distance, who are really used to this, back and forth and the higher lactate tolerance. Yeah. So I knew pretty quick that the dynamics change. Maybe we don't see it so much in the times, but if you race those races, the dynamics feel, compared to 2016, the dynamics are so different. Yeah. So the spikes are much higher, and you have to train that. It's really important. So over the last couple of years, like my 20 minute peak power had to go up, just because naturally, if you want to go with those hard attacks, you have to up your game on that.
Yeah, no,
and it's not so easy
as you
38-year-old.
No, that's not normally how a career progresses. Increase your.
So it's an interesting project.
Yeah, but and then the things that you like, and that's amazing that you've been able to, like, deciding that's a need, and being actually able to do it are two very different things, right? Sure. But you have the skill or the experience that those guys don't, with just being out here, right? And like, what is that? We can all replay pictures of you with your shirt down and 1 million water bottles in there and grabbing all the stuff.
Good times.
Yeah, but like, you're also hurting yourself at it. Like, you're in in a very, I imagine, never seems dark from the outside for you, but a very challenging place. Like, how do you manage that when you're on like the back half of the run course here?
So first of all, I think you still have to know your limits. Like, for example, in 2018, when we left Transition 2, and the guys took off, like Bart Arnos, Braden Curry, I think T.O. was also in the group, and they took off like a rocket ship. Like, they went out 3/10 on a K. And I got with them, and I thought, okay, honestly, I have the run course record here, and I know this is definitely too fast. So I backed up, and I caught them on Palan. So you always have to be smart about your race strategy and the decision making. So, to a certain point.
Yeah.
And what was the other part of your question?
I don't remember.
Oh, I got you in your head.
Yeah, totally.
Back to 2018.
Yeah, no, I'm in there, man. I'm feeling it with you. Yeah, but like when you get to the spot, even if you're in the front, like, when it's tough, and I think we underestimate when you're looking at it at TV.
Yeah.
It looks tough, but it's way tougher than it looks on TV, right? Like, tell us why it's so hard or harder than it looks, and how you get through that.
I think there are, certain psychological tricks you can use. I think you always have to know why you're doing it. So going into the race, for me personally, is why am I here? What am I doing? Like, I have to have a reason for racing. And some guys are different. Like, some guys work with this total, aggression about, you said this and this in the press conference, so I'm gonna smash you. And over the last couple of years, I tried all that, and it did not work out for me. I'm totally not that type of guy. I'm more of a relaxed guy and try to have the good vibe. So it's also really important for me to pick those guys leading up to the race, for example, or even have the guys around me in the race where I think, okay, you're not a dick. So,
all the time.
And that helps, sure. And I think knowing why you're here and have a bigger picture of also gratefulness. Like I said in the beginning, we're so privileged. And if it's really, 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 really bad during the race, I think zooming out of this situation and honestly maybe take the next aid station, go a little bit slower there, cool down and regroup, and just looking into smiling and excited faces also helps me. Running down our lead drive and see all the people, even if it might not look like it from the outside because there's a tainted glasses, and you have this.
Yeah.
I see everyone, and I pick some persons out, and they're super excited, and this gives me so much energy, and this definitely helps me during the really hard phases in the race.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that you're the one enjoying the crowd, because you are
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I get this question really often. Like, did you notice me? I was down there and I was shooting. Yeah, I don't look like it, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you for being out there. 100%.
That's amazing. Yeah, man, I'm impressed at your ability to, again, you've always had, I've felt since your first win, that appreciation for things, but there was a hard edge to it to an extent. And I feel like you've been able to, grab that spirit a little bit and enjoy the process.
Thank you. Yeah. I can agree, and I feel so much better with it. It's like things get so much easier if you're
not stressed out.
Loving what you do and don't stress it out too much.
Well, sweet. Most laid back guy out on course on Saturday. Appreciate you chatting with us.
Thank you so much. See you out there.
Camera.
Hey. Here we go. Is that it?
All right, we got
Awkward.
Kristian here. And slant it. Alrighty.
Okay, we're ready for our second podcaster. It's been really tight, so I've got to get some snacks.
Yeah.
I was curious if you could give me some input on my position while I eat. I've been trying something a little bit more like this.
More forward.
More?
More reach.
My
more
hamstrings
reach.
are gonna rip in two.
It's all about getting as far reach as possible, you know?
I can't do it. Oh, hey, look at that. Thanks. It's one of my handlers. It's fine. How's it going?
The goal is that people shouldn't recognize your position, you know? So every time you turn up to a new race, it should be, yeah.
There are I feel like there's people that think you guys are actually kidding. And it's gonna be something totally different on Saturday.
Who knows? We might turn up with back to normal position. so far, it feels okay. Like I've done some longer rides in it. I think, since Frankfurt, I've been working with the body rocket system and trying to, optimizing for aerodynamic. And been riding like this for maybe 3 or 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
So not tons of time, but it feels stable, I would say. Like I did almost a full course a few days ago, and shoulders were surprisingly fine, and I was okay, felt solid. So I feel it's a comfortable-ish position. Comfortable-ish at race pace for an Ironman.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously there's got to be a pretty large aerodynamic gain or wattage gain, right?
Yeah. I don't have the numbers exactly, but that was the fastest position we found when we were testing both in Bergen but also in Flagstaff. So and also as we probably have seen, both Magnus and Sam have been working a lot on their position lately, or since 2 years ago. So if I want to be able to keep up with them on the bike, aerodynamic is going to be crucial. But then it's more about if I can keep the position in the crosswind, because the last week have been insane.
Yeah.
And it's been the roughest I've been riding in the crosswind, I think, way worse than 2 years ago. And the only thing that's sort of I find is good is that when I'm checking on Strava, that everyone else is also saying that extremely windy.
Right.
I would be a little bit more nervous if I found it extremely windy and everyone else was just riding fine and solid. So, but yeah, as long as I'm able to ride the section out after Queen K up to Havi and back again, there has been quite nasty the last few days in terms of crosswind. But as long as I'm able to do that section fine, I think it's a good position.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess you guys did have very good conditions 2 years ago, right? But you've been out here long enough to feel what those crosswinds are like. And tell people how when you say it's windy, it's really you'll go from the white line to the yellow line windy.
Yeah, especially in training, because then you have to be on the shoulder because of the traffic in the main road.
Yeah.
So that also makes it a little bit more scary, because you can't really, in case it comes a massive gust, you don't want to be thrown out in the road, because then it can be a nasty accident.
Yeah.
So on the race itself, it's probably a little bit easier, and also it's normally a little bit more calm middle of the day. So as long as we can ride hard the first 90 minutes or so to get as far into the course as possible before the wind picks up.
Yeah.
So it's the crosswind and is one thing, but also you can have slower condition where you get the wind straight from the front. Then it's more slower time, but it's not as challenging in terms of position wise. Yeah,
and you've, I imagine, had a little bit of that. I actually started doing triathlon in Flagstaff. I went to school in Flagstaff, and that Lake Mary Road, that usually there's pretty good wind, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But just not side wind.
It's comes gust as well, but also in altitude. I think as the air is a little bit thinner, it feels like it doesn't take as much on the bike as it does here.
Yeah.
But it's more about trusting your strength that you'll be able to stay in the position, because every time you then will go out because you feel nervous and can't do the gust, then you're sort of losing tons of time and it takes energy. So it will be more about just having the strength to just, even it's even if you're feeling quite scared, you just have to stay stuck into the position.
Yeah, and you kind of got to let it go a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk the entire time about your position, but I appreciate you and Gustav seem to have a lot of fun, and often in like camps like that, I imagine your guys are like brainstorming and coming up with stuff. Like, are your coaches and like scientists that you work with, are they like pissed? You're like, dude, are they like pissed when you come back with this idea that you're gonna do this, or like, are they part of that whole process?
They are part of it. Like when it came to my position, I didn't take too much control of it. I was letting the the guys in body rocket to sort of screen through both like lower position and higher position and like different angles, and they were then looking at which position was the fastest and which of the position I felt like was limiting me in terms of the power. And then we did a second round of testing in Flagstaff, so we've been like looking at what's the cost and benefits from the different positions.
Yeah.
And it just ended up being like more reached out and looks quite significant different than how I was riding in Frankfurt. But I was also quite aware that I needed to do something, especially for like a course like this.
Yeah, and I think that like, you know, most people are talking as you, and rightly so, being kind of the hands-on favorite for this race. But if I'm one of your competitors and I see you making those changes, it doesn't make me think you're not confident. It just makes me think you respect the competition here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think either my back will be fine for race day or it will be not. So it's just like two options, you know. So let's hope that it's bending towards being fine, and that I'm not laying on the Ali drive on the run course because I can't run because of the back. But especially with the way Sam was riding 2 years ago, and in this event, like I think it got like 5 or 6 minute gap on the rest of the guys. And also we know that Magnus Ditlev can be riding super strong, and maybe even after my run race in Frankfurt, I think they will be using whatever strength they have on the bike to try to put me in a difficult position. So I guess we all know each other's weaknesses and strengths, and that makes it more interesting as well to turn up to the race course. And yeah, I do look forward to that challenge to race those guys again.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's just crazy. It's like you guys you're running out of time to work with, right? Like those guys, they're not running that slow, right? So like, you know, if they have a 7-minute lead, you need to run a 2:34 if they're running a 2:41 type of thing, right? Like
yeah, and I think
getting tight.
I think I gave Sam. Well, I didn't give him. He took it.
Yeah,
he took 6 minutes out of me back from Javi, and I thought that of course I'm going to catch, but then no, he was holding on quite strong, and as well, like he's a young guy as well, so you can expect him to improve for each season as well. It would be different if you are maybe Patrick, as an example, like older generation. You can sort of expect them to be more like stabilizing at a level, but when you are like early 20s, mid 20s, you will expect them to be like taking those steps year by year. So, and even with the way they've been racing in the middle distance, they definitely have some run speed.
Yeah, I mean it's a little different too, though, right? Because like last year or 2 years ago, sorry, you know, I was out there on a moto and was giving you guys the splits as I was the rest of the competitors out there, and there was a surprise near the end when the gap was as big. But I think it seemed like you guys were like, you know, we've seen him walk a lot of races, like we'll get him no problem. But that's a very different thing now, right? That he's obviously the second here, but then won a world championship with a strong run. Like how different is you in your head now racing what we know Sam Laidlow is currently versus what he was 2 years ago?
It's definitely makes me being more aware of him. He's there with a big X on his back, or like as a target to, like, we know that we can't let him get away. But again, I think last year people didn't let him get away. He just took the moment and he just put a lot of pressure on the field. So it's not just down to if you think, or if you just like let him go or not, like he's that strong that he can break away, even if you're trying to defend yourself.
Yeah, and obviously, like 2 years ago, it was pretty far in, where he like made his big break, and then last year, obviously at the end of the climb, is where he finally got rid of Clement. But this year, like, there could be a big group. Like, do you expect things to be dynamic? Like an athlete like Sam trying, do you expect to have to make moves to cover attacks in town and early?
Maybe not early, but like I think he did ride quite strongly, like in the first 10-15K to get up to Queen K.
Yeah.
And he was then riding maybe 50-60 seconds in front of me, Gustav, and Magnus, together with Max Newman up front.
Right.
So we had to sort of bridge up to them, and both me and Gustav was basically sprinting up the hill up to Javi to be able to bridge up to the three up front. And he just used the right moment when when we were sort of covering Magnus, because we were looking at him as the strongest cyclist in the field. And after having basically put in a 20 minutes threshold effort just to come back into the race, then he was making the move, and it was sort of mix. I was looking at Gustav, obviously. I knew that I needed to have good running legs to come off the bike, and I knew that I was thinking that 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes we will catch on Sam. So it was maybe underestimating him a little bit, and not just a little bit, I did, and my legs was also cooked.
Yeah. No, it seemed like it was tough out there. Like you've had experience, obviously, winning a Ironman World Championship already in St. George on a very, very tough course. 2 years ago, you know, your goal was to win this race as well, and obviously it didn't happen to your competitors. But also, this course, like, did that? I know you guys are you're very scientific and prepared and heat tolerances, but was there anything that surprised you about how hard this course was, or were you just legs different that day?
I think I just had different legs on the race day. Of course, the humidity makes it a little bit more tricky. I think I get a little bit more for free when I'm racing in a course like in St. George, where it's not altitude, but I think it's 900, 1,000 meters of elevation, or like elevation. So it's a little bit higher up, a little bit less oxygen, and quite dry air, which is, I find it way easier. So the humidity is one thing, but if I compare the run legs that I start running off with here after transition compared to the ones I had in St. George, it was two complete different sets of legs, even though I felt the bike was hard at both races.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, I was, just to stay with Max Newman and Gustav, I had to run 10-15 seconds faster per K than what I was like comfortable with. So I was just trying to stay with Gustav for as long as possible and hoping that he was digging himself into a hole, which he never did. So I just hope that when coming off the bike that I will feel like more comfortable on the first 10-15K.
Yeah. You know, talking to athletes that just had Patrick Lange on here and some of the old timers, and we talk about, especially talk like Mark Allen and guys of years past, about like the spirit of the island and like the different energies that get you. Is there any of that in with you guys and how you prepare for the race, or is this just a world championship on a different course?
It's the last one. It's World Championship. Obviously, it's a historical course. Like it's the birthplace of triathlon, and it's a race that everyone is aware of, and it's a lot of prestige on the line as it comes with a World Championship. And it's a race I really would love to win. But then it's more like we're breaking it down to, like, of course, you have the crosswind on the bike course, you have the heat, the humidity, and those things that makes the course and the venue so challenging. And I'm just trying to be on top of that.
Awesome. And you know, some athletes maybe are a little, they're trying to find what would be your weakness to give an opportunity to beat you. and some because St. George, you gave up a lot of time in the swim. I do remember you puking your face off in the start corral of that swim, so maybe that has something to do with it. But are you at all worried about coming out in that front group?
I would be stressed if I'm behind Magnus out of the water. I think that's going to be crucial. But again, like the thing with an Ironman, and especially here, we've seen that you can come into T2 quite far down and still run yourself into a good position because you can ruin your legs on that bike course, and you have to respect the heat and humidity and the energy lab. So you just have, like, you can do so much on the second half of the run course here that I think it's important to have that mindset on race course. So of course, ideally I want to be first pack out of the water, but if I'm 2 minutes down, I just have to reset and look at what's the new scenario and just never give up, because it's more important to have what's required for the second half of the race than being in the lead early on. But
Yeah.
I also feel that the fact that I have the strength now, maybe, or they know that I can finish off the run quite well, is also putting more pressure on them to attack early on. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, and we've seen it, right? Like you obviously were off the bike in a very high position 2 years ago, but we've seen, like, you look back in history and look at Lange and athletes like that have run through 8, 10, 12 people with a run not as fast as what you're capable of. That's got to give you a little bit of ability to be a little more patient if you need to.
Yeah. And I think that's if you're able to do the nutrition right and staying on top of the hydration, then you can do so much, not damage, but you can repair it almost for second half, because people will get damaged and people will often fade off. And that was maybe what took me with most surprise that didn't happen to Sam 2 years ago, because I was thinking that, yeah, we may be running the same pace now, but he got to slow down. But then I was the one who was hitting the started to hurt back from NG Lab. So I think in races like this, it's so important to obviously race the field early on. You want to be in the right sort of pack dynamic early on. You want to make sure that you're not ending up with any penalties and not getting into the red zone with the race ranger, because then you sort of have to surge, like do those 2-minute surges to get past the group, to get to the front again. So being able to save energy without getting too close and risk penalties, because we saw also 2 years ago that the referees were on, which is a great thing, but that also makes it more nervous in the field.
Yeah, no doubt.
And even though you try to stay on the safe side, we saw just a small mistake, like with what happened with Magnus 2 years ago, where you just slide in just too close, and then the referees is on. So it's going to be important to stay safe, but not too close in terms of.
Yeah, like, and that's kind of stressful, right? Like people forget or don't realize that, like, there's a lot of mental energy that's going on to, like, making sure you don't mess up that while you're putting out 350 watts, right?
Yeah. So you want to try to relax as possible, like be your shoulders, and like not just look up all the time, to look at make sure that you're at a safe distance. But also, like, the closer you get, less power you have to produce from behind. But then again, if you're just getting too close, you suddenly have to put in this 60 seconds or 2 minutes of burst of well above threshold just to pass, and then you're suddenly in the front. So it's sometimes better to stay on the safer side there, like a meter or two behind extra.
Is there anybody that we're not thinking about that you think might be a factor in your race?
It's hard to say. Like, I think there will always be people that popped up that you didn't expect to be there. But I think the two main guys will be Sam and Magnus on the bike. and luckily they will probably get out of the water in 2 different places.
Yeah.
Sam further towards the front, and Magnus hopefully behind me. And then you have Patrick, who is a quite strong runner, who have run well in this course before. And it seems like as well, like the whole level in long distance have been increased quite a lot over the last 3-4 years. So it's more people who can run sub 240. And if you can put that together in this course, it can certainly be up there for a top 5.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to watching. I'm also very curious, and I think the whole world is curious. I know 2 years ago, after the race, you guys didn't like, no beer, no nothing, no after party at all. If you win the race, will you have like a beer, or you're just back to training?
Now we're actually having the pool party.
Yeah, your after party at 2 p.m.
Yeah, 2 p.m. On Sunday. So it's signed out already. So
There you go. When you will have a drink.
I will have maybe a Red Bull or non-alcoholic Red Bull.
I kind of thought that might be the case. Well, look forward to hopefully maybe I can talk to somebody and get in on the list. Maybe I can come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know someone I can talk to and
Sweet.
get you in.
Awesome. Sweet, man. Thanks so much. We're looking forward to watching the race.
Thank you.
Hi, we got Gustav Iden over here.
Let's go. Let's go to good stuff. Ready and action.
Yes, it's me, Gustav Iden. I'm on the island, the big island of Hawaii.
You guys ready? You're good. And slate. Here we go.
Okay, you got it here now. Bring it over here. Come on. Hey, come on. We got our next guest. Hey, it's Gustav.
Hey!
Hey, how's it going? The question is who wore it better, but I think you did, obviously.
I bought mine in a store just over there 2 years ago, but it's made in Hawaii, so I think it's legit.
It's good.
Yeah.
Dude, have you been wearing this since the last time you were on the island?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's my go-to shirt at home. And now I had to have some sponsor appropriate, or else I would just go shirtless under.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's for
I
the
think
after party?
That's for the after party. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do
If I
it.
make it there.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, back on the island. It's been 2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
And it's a pretty good time out here last time, yeah?
Last time was a dream. It was, yeah, like the first time around, you don't fear anything because everything is new, so everything is so exciting. But now landing on the airport and feeling the humidity and driving on Queen K and everything, I feel a little bit of more fear than last time, I would say.
Yeah, is the naivety more of a strength than we thought it was, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. And also, I don't know how I was so confident last time. I mean, I did win quite a few races and I was really, really prepared for a good race. But I mean, my confidence was also just through the roof. And now I am not the person that I used to be. I mean, it's good to grow up, but it's also a bit, yeah, the naivety was a good thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, allude to it, but like, sport to me is this like, euphoric can be this amazing high.
Yeah.
And we highlight those and we see those all the time.
Yeah.
But it can be brutal.
Yeah.
And it seems like in the last 2 years, it's been more of a brutal side of the thing for you.
Yeah.
Is it nice, at least when you not had, because it always ebbs and flows, right? Like we know it'll come back. Does
Yeah.
it feel nice to at least come back to the island with hope, with your buddy like you did 2 years ago, and be back on the place where you had that success?
Yeah, you say it's nice, or like you know that it's going to come back, but when you're feeling down
Yeah.
as an athlete, you don't think like that. You think, yeah, I had my time in the spotlight and now it's over. I'm never going to be good again. And I mean, a lot of sport is about the mental aspect, to just do what's required day in, day out. But to be honest, this last winter, I did not think like I could ever be good again. Like I'm still not good, I would say. I'm not where I want to be, but now I at least can see that it's possible to get back to where I belong. Also training with Kristian, it's a blessing and a curse. In one way, I can see what's required, but it also see every single training session how far up it is to him. 2 days ago, we had the last really big session before the big dance in Hawaii. And it kind of broke me up into that point. I had ambition here. I kind of came to this race thinking I could do something and not just be on the start line. I thought maybe top 5 was within reach if things went to plan. But to be honest, that session kind of broke me a little bit. So to have Kristian here on island is very good for him. And it's also, I mean, it is good for me. It is, we are a good dynamic duo, but still it is hard to see how far up it is.
Yeah, and do you see though, and I hear that and I feel that, do you feel that there's now an opportunity to have that like experience? Like we talk about like the old school, you're like, okay, you got to race here 5 times before you can even try to do good. And then you got to do 10 times before you can try to win. Where you guys came out, and obviously you came out and you're like, no, I'll just win the thing.
Yeah.
But now maybe you have that opportunity to be like, have that experience and gain something from maybe not being at the front, or is it hard for you to get there mentally?
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different race if you race for the win and race for your best performance, I would say. If you're racing for the win, you kind of have to reply on all the attacks and you have to play the dynamics a lot more. But for me now, I can actually do a race a bit more isolated. Of course, I would race with a pack and try to be smart during it, but I'm also more free and maybe more relaxed in the race because I know no matter, it's nothing I can do in race that makes me win. Like it's no mistakes or no things that I can do to make me win, really. So, I mean, it's more about getting the best out there. And yeah, in one way that is more old school because I can only think about myself and get the best out of there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a great learning and see how it is.
Right. And in that manner, do you think at all that workout was a blessing? So you didn't like go in thinking you had it and then get yourself somewhere you can't?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. It would be heartbreaking to get the learning halfway on the bike and then just be pissed at myself for 5-6 hours. So it's better to get the reality check before the race starts and adjust my ambition. And adjusting my ambition is what I've basically been doing the last 2 years. It's been since basically 2019. So yeah, quite some years. Every single race has been super easy entry. It's the ambition is to win. It's like it's nothing more simple than that. You just have to beat everyone else, and the ambition is super clear, and you don't even have to think about what the ambition is. So yeah, the last 2 years I've been really struggling with managing expectations, I would say. So I'm not used to going into a race and say I hope for a top 10. That's like it's not in my racing DNA. And of course, it would be nice to go a whole career without ever learning to manage expectations. But I still hope to race here for like 10 more years, you know? So I guess the learnings had to come, one time. And I feel like I have been knee deep in learning the last 2 years because so many new experience that hasn't been good experience that's like been thrown at me left and right. So I would say managing expectations is one of the biggest.
Yeah, and I imagine so. Like, not many people have that ability to, for those several years, be like, no, pretty simple, just trying to win.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you kind of work your way up there, and obviously consistency is challenging for most. But, you know, actually a few athletes today, when talking about you in these interviews, have talked about you having an extraordinary, like, race DNA or race wit.
Yeah.
Do you not think, though, that these experiences, and I know Heinz to think ahead of what your hindsight might be is challenging.
Then it's just insight, isn't it?
I think it's just insight. Yeah. We'll go with that. Of what you can get out of this period of time where you're learning things that you simply weren't going to learn if you were just trying to win the race.
Yeah, I think so. But also, confidence is key in that race smartness, I would say. And I think my race confidence, what maybe made me a great racer. I used to say that I'm the smartest triathlete alive and a lot of crazy things on camera, and I still do think like I'm a smart athlete, but yeah, I had some wild quotes back when I felt super confident. I mean, I'm still like a self-confident person, but the racing confidence doesn't just like show up. You need some evidence. I'm not stupid. I can't trick myself into thinking I can run 20% better on race day than on training. So I mean, the race ability came from the race confidence, and the race confidence comes from training. So yeah, I just need to train more and get back there, I think.
Yeah, and it says probably easier to an extent, not diminishing what race wit is and that you had it in aces, but it's a little bit easier when you got a bunch of matches to play, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But is there also maybe a little bit of, you guys lean on science so much.
Yeah.
I imagine there's maybe some, hopefully, confidence coming from like the numbers and knowing that you keep down this road, we can get, you never know if you're going to win another world championship, but you can be that athlete again.
Yeah, it is definitely a strength for the future, but also it's a daily reality check. So with all the numbers and all the science,
right,
I'm not trickable. Like a coach can say to me, you're in great shape. You're going to win this. Right. Like I can see my data myself. I have my Garmin, I have training peaks on Strava and whatever. I can see all the data. So, I mean, science is a good thing if you are good. If you are bad, then all the numbers are just telling you you can't win. So, yeah.
Well, you've used some of that data and those numbers to, you're blowing up the internet and Instagram with your aerodynamic position.
Yeah.
Which for those that haven't seen, it's like,
it's pretty stretched out, yeah.
It's basically that.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty proud. I've been doing a lot of yoga, I've been limbering up and all that, but I do not think I could ride that position for like 4
I think you would be surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
It's comfortable?
You can come to my house, it's halfway on a bike course and try it out.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So how, obviously that's helping with aerodynamics to an extent that is making you feel like you can be a little bit more in the mix? Is that
For sure.
Is that rolling the dice a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, if it's like a year to experiment and to do things you might not have done normally, it's this year. So yeah, I think triathlon is a great way to be creative. A lot of athletes are a bit stuck in their old ways, I think, because it's scary to change, especially if you're on a winning streak. Like I've been on a winning streak for some years, and of course it's challenging to change then. But now that I've been down a little bit and trying to get back up again, I think it's the perfect opportunity to try out some stuff. So yeah, it's just learnings, It's very exciting to be able to just do whatever you want and don't feel like you're throwing away a world championship because you took a huge risk. So yeah, the sitting position is one of the things that I tried out, and yeah, I mean the shoe rules made it a bit harder for me to do some crazy stuff with on, but I love creativity and I love being able to try some new stuff. And it's not only for clickbait on internet, it's because I generally have like my own appreciation of developing stuff.
Yeah, how cool is it and how lucky do you feel? I mean, it's not luck, it's your performances that have put you in that position, but like me and my brother used to like do stuff like that, or like buddies used to try to come up with aero positions and make our own stuff, but we're like using epoxy and glue, where you can like call up your bike sponsor, be like, hey, you want to get a team on this? Like, that's pretty cool.
I think the broader stuff is more fun though. It is. It's basically nothing that beat the basement or like the garage homemade feeling, and I think that is cooler to have it done half good yourself than have a team behind it that makes it.
Yeah.
Even though the team can make it so much better. So, but obviously it's amazing to have support for all my sponsors and everyone is on board, and I do feel very grateful for all the support. I know sport, it is about winning, obviously, but it's also about telling a story and resilience. And I hope my story can finish like with a good comeback story in the end, and I can ride a fairy tale for a few more years. But I think, my story is going to be good when it's finished.
That's awesome. Well, I personally am looking forward to more now after this conversation, watching the next chapter on Saturday and watching you maybe enjoy the island a little bit.
Yeah. Are you enjoying the island?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah?
It's pretty good. It's been chill. It hasn't been too hot.
But it's been windy this year, much more.
I feel like it has.
Yeah, I think it has, yeah.
Yeah. And have you, like, everybody's talking about it being windy. I'm curious, what time of day are you going out there at 7 o'clock?
Yeah, we've tried to do most of our sessions within like the race window where the conditions are pretty similar, and riding to Hawaii in the morning in the wind, it is challenging. I thought maybe my position would be more difficult in the wind, but honestly it's just the condition that is really hard. My position isn't that crazy that I feel like the position is what's limiting my power in the wind. It's just that the wind, it is pretty tough out there.
So are you, obviously having your experience out here last year, or 2 years ago, winning the race, but then it seems like more time experiencing those windier conditions. Can you explain watching this race, we do the slow-mo with the sweat and like it makes it look all hard, and we're talking about the wind and the heat. And there's an appreciation for it, but it's different when you're here.
Yeah.
Right? Like what is it that's different that you think that people don't necessarily get unless they're out here?
I would say definitely the wind on the bike. It's it is different wind here. I don't know if it's just because we're in the island of middle of nowhere and the turbulence of the island, I don't know, but the wind, it is one of the most challenging aspects of this race course, especially on a day where it's blowing more than normal. And also the heat on the run, it's nowhere to hide, and you can just see that it's nowhere to hide as well. It's just so open, and the sun is like scorching on the tarmac, and everything is just like boiling within you. And I think also the pressure of you have to perform in these conditions. It's not like if you are doing a race to qualify for this race, then you might have a new chance 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later or whatever. But this is it. This is what you've been training for. And I think having the added pressure that you just have to manage the conditions and you just have to perform no matter how bad it gets there, that is kind of getting to your head a little bit. And in one way it's very claustrophobic because, especially if you're up front, because you just know that if you blow up now, everyone will see it. And you have to, in my opinion, respect the race and island and really try to get to the finish line. So even if you start walking, it's just going to take even longer to get to the finish line. So I think, the added pressure that you have to do well on this island is what makes it super special.
That's awesome. Okay, so this year our theme, what was the theme from 2 years ago?
It's stand together. But that was a bit strange actually, because I don't know if you remember 2 years ago.
I remember everything and stuff.
You remember everything?
Yeah.
So in Norway at least, we had a pandemic. It was called COVID-19.
Oh yeah, I heard about
it. And everyone was told, stand apart. At least 3 feet, 1 meter. And now we come to the island of Hawaii, and now we're going to stand together. Wasn't that a bit strange looking back to it?
I think that's what they were hoping that was what we were doing,
Okay.
but maybe they didn't realize the restrictions were still in place. In some
Okay.
places,
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're this year's theme is share water glasses.
Yeah.
That's this year's theme. This year's theme is
Share Morton gels.
yes.
Yeah.
Just mouth to mouth.
It's always a little bit left. So we see something on the ground, just
Yeah,
take out
nobody
the-
gets it all out.
No one gets it all out.
Yeah.
So just take the last bits. It's very good. Maybe it is 3-4 calories in there.
Your technique.
Yeah, it's very good.
Pay attention if you guys
Yeah.
weren't paying attention. Yeah,
That's the clip.
that is a clip. So the theme this year is hola ho,
Hola ho.
hola ho,
Okay.
which means new life.
Okay.
Yeah. What?
Seems fitting.
Yeah. What does that mean for you coming in this race?
I would say new life for me, and at least for me now, I would say appreciate a working body and appreciate sports without winning. Like most people don't do sports to win. And I mean, it's my job to win, but I still can appreciate when it's, you're not winning. It's only going to be one winner this year as well. So I guess most people would be disappointed if everyone just came for the win. But new life is new beginnings and new way of enjoying my same old life.
This
Yeah.
guy, tear in the eye.
This guy.
Tear in the eye. Dude, thank you. Well, there you go. There is day number 1 at the VinFast Ironman World Championship interviews behind the scenes here at the Ironman Insider Podcast, presented by Morton. Good stuff. It's fun to get chat with those guys. It's been a while. Certainly been a while since they've been on the island. But a lot more action coming. We got another podcast on Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. And a lot more stuff coming from the island. We'll see you.